Thank you. California always obviously leads the way when it comes to clean air. We put out regulations before anyone else does. We have a history of that in the United States.
And you're doing great. The air is much better, certainly.
And one of the reasons why we have much better air and clean air is because of the DERA program.
Oh.
And this has been a very
smooth transition.
It's been a very successful program. Senator Feinstein, Senator Boxer, and I agree. You know, and Jerry Lewis, who wrote the original legislation for the California Clean Air Act, the state of California. And why? Because it works. We're removing old diesel engines from the inventory throughout the country. It especially affects, as you know, PM 2.5 and particulate matter, which was a big problem in the South Coast Air Quality Basin. And so it's distressing to us when we see that the administration proposes to eliminate the diesel emission grant program, which is, as I mentioned earlier, has $13 of economic benefit per federal dollar, based on your analysis. So you can explain, why would you want to remove a program that has such real achievement and really works?
Chairman, I'm not trying to be contrary, but I don't want to do this. I want to respect the budget limitations that I've been given and make the best decisions I can. And I'm trying to balance a lot of interests here. We've had many years of significant funding of the DERA program. It has provided a wealth of benefits.
It has had the largest effect.
Decisions need to be made, and they were difficult.
Yeah, in the area that I live, of course, the Port of L.A., Long Beach, all these trucks are around there, and helping these independent truck drivers change over to these new modern engines that have 90% less emissions. 90% less emissions. It's really, it's had incredible effect on air quality in my part of the world. So I'm going to work with Mr. Moran and our friends in the Senate. I'm sure, I suspect you probably knew we would probably put the money back in the program, since it's been around for such a long time and it has such tremendous success and had such bipartisan support. But with that, I'm going to go back to water for a second here. I think Mike wanted to come back.
You're making me shuffle my papers here.
Yeah, Mike wanted to come back for some questions, but I don't know if he's going to make it back or not. But apparently 117 million people whose drinking water is derived in part, according to the statistics I've just received, from intermittent streams. So the question is, do they have a higher death rate than those who get their water from rivers and lakes?
I don't believe the water is drawn directly from the intermittent streams. Those intermittent streams are relied on to support the navigable waters below, which is both supporting the surface water and groundwater that provides that drinking water.
Well, since the science is complete and just being correlated and double-checked, do we know that these 117 million people get specific illnesses that are attributable to known elements that are washed through these intermittent streams?
The 117 million is simply an indication of looking at what waters feed drinking water supplies, and part of those are these intermittent streams that are fed through rain events or that are seasonal.
I think I want to try to get to, in other words, are we fixing a problem, or are we just complying with this proposed law?
I guess what I'm suggesting is that the waters of the U.S. were designed to protect drinking water, to ensure that natural resources are protected for fishing and hunting and swimming, and that these streams are important for that. But my major point in that was that these streams are critical to drinking water supplies, and that's the reason why they should be considered, and currently are, waters of the U.S.
Okay, and I'm sure Mr. Simpson is going to expand on that. I'm going to change directions once again on these issues of denying a permit before someone is even able to apply for a permit. And this
Yes.
is regarding the Bristol Bay Pebble
Yes.
Mine watershed study. Is this the new, this is the new EPA to say no?
No, sir, I wouldn't characterize the actions
Because
we're
I think
taking
business
at
community
EPA
wants to
as-
know why even apply to do anything if it's going to be no before we even start.
In the history of EPA, we've only used this 404C process, which is what we've just taken a first step to consider. 13 times, only once when we haven't had a permit in the mix. This is the second time. So I don't think you want to think of this as any trend. It's a very unique circumstance, Chairman. It's a unique resource. It is one of the world's largest and most active in producing sockeye salmon fishery in just a beautiful area that's very unique, and this is a unique mine. And so we've taken a first step to look at this as to whether or not we should take action, and I think it was appropriate to do that.
Well, this country has I know it may be antiquated to some, but due process is part of this country.
And it will be thoroughly debated, transparent, and public comments if we decide to continue beyond this first step, which is a discussion with the company and a discussion with the state and the Army Corps.
Yeah, because this unilateral determination without any due process is very troubling to me. And if there's a trend to this, as the chairman mentioned earlier, this is going to have a significant effect on our economy. And with that barking noise in the background, I now recognize Mr. Simpson.
I was with Ducks Unlimited, and he had a quacking when it went off.
Well, the worst thing was I happened to be presiding on the floor of the House, and I'd call my senator and left a message to call me back. And I went in the chair and presiding, and we were debating what to do with the rescue dogs after Hurricane Katrina, and my phone started barking. And it was not pre-planned.